Hi, I'm Keith Daffron with Vexus Boats. I'm here rigging some tackle, getting ready for a tournament tomorrow. I want to talk to you about this VX21 I'm in, and it's an interesting boat if you're not familiar with it. It's the biggest bass boat built, and we're very proud of it. I think it's notorious or becoming that way quickly for being a big water, rough impoundment type of platform. It just likes 1 inch being 22 feet in length, and in doing that, it provides so much room here in the interior. And you know, there's just the storage alone, the depth that we put into this boat. You can put so many rods in just this port rod box. It's got so much room, places to set treble hooks off to the side so they're not tangled into your socks. Even in the front center area here, you notice this reflex flooring that we've got. It's quick to dry, it's soft to the touch, very durable. So we've incorporated that here on the front center lid, but I've got a lot of tackle here in this front center box, but I can also put an array of rods should I want to put my rods that I'm gonna pull out first, for instance. You can do that here. Big raised lips to keep these things ultra dry. Striker plates, you know, a lot of these boats are notorious for having chipped gel coat where these key locks come to meet the deck of the boat, and that's not the case with us. Another thing that's unique from the VX21, oftentimes people are comparing the VX20 to the 21, is we're able to incorporate this day box here in front of the driver's console. Provides a lot of extra storage, and then just to the front of it is a great place for rain suits and jackets. A lot of that can be thrown into this area here. But up above that comes this huge platform, significantly larger than anything I'm aware of. And you know, that's important because oftentimes you find, especially in a team tournament atmosphere, we were fishing side by side or parallel. You might be standing, that's what this forked front end does, where we can stand on each side. The recessed trolling motor tucks that away. And I'll tell you something else that's very popular today, these multiple depth finder arrangements, and we've tried to be on the cutting edge of that. What we've done here is we've got a dual Victor bracket that recesses down into the previous bow panel area for one depth finder. And in doing that, it allows us to stack two 12-inch units, but they remain low profile, which I believe is important. You know, you could see these things running down the lake where they could be visually impair you or just maybe be in the way when you're fishing, but that's not the case here. And another thing we've done is we've incorporated a Vexus View harness, which gives you heavy gauge wire direct to the battery, allowing you with this forward-facing sonar to give you the most power that battery is able to produce direct to this head unit. And that's important, and it's becoming so critical as people are trying to see farther and watch these fish literally bite their hook with today's forward-facing technology. Of course, the trolling motor's incorporated, all that's tied together neatly here, retractable rod buckles, but it's just a huge platform. And you know, there's little things, and it's important, I guess I'll just point that out quickly. I'll pull another rod out just for visual reference, but if you'll notice the angled edge of this rod lid, and that may not mean much to you until you've got a stack of rods laying here and need to grab one throughout the course of a day. And what that does is it allows these rods to, even if I had it over here, to kick off to the side as opposed to into the lake itself. So things like that are I think, important to point out, and hopefully you'll notice them yourself. Along the edge of these carpeted decks, we've used aluminum powder coated carpet trim. It's not, you know, you'll just really be hard pressed to find plastic or rubber components in this boat that are going to chalk or fade or craze over time. Stepping back off, now you see this in a single console application, but we've got a platform or a landing pad here for the dual to be added, whether when the boat's produced or afterward, either one. But this front step to me is a very critical part of the arrangement of the boat. We've got tool holders incorporated, real easy to grab your pliers or your scissors, but underneath is this handy dandy drawer, and as you can already tell, it accumulates so many different things, whether that's the key fob for the ignition, it could be my chips for my Lake Master to plug into my Solix. It could even be a lure retriever. All that's really, a pair of gloves, sunglasses, whatever, all that can be neatly tucked into here, and it's got a slam latch like a cabinet drawer, which means a lot when you're just needing to kick that shut. I could grab I could grab this bag of soft plastics, toss it back in, and I'm back on the water fishing. Dropping into the cockpit, one of the things that you notice our boat's so much different than anything else out there is this open cockpit. It's because the fuel tank's running longitudinally down in the keel of the boat. It's down underneath the floor. What that does is it lowers our center of gravity. This boat holds 58 gallons of fuel. So at tournament takeoff, you've got 58 gallons of fuel acting as ballast for you underneath where you're sitting to allow that boat to ride more stable in those rough water conditions. The other thing that it did is it allowed us to have this soft ride or airwave suspension system that is adjustable depending on your weight. You just simply pump up the air bladder to your specifications, but it takes so much of that impact away from you as an angler or a co-angler. In the co-angler seat, you've got a retractable handle that you can reach and grab, and this handrail here comes as chrome, or you see it here in the powder coated version. So now as a co-angler, I can rest very comfortably in rough water conditions or in tournament conditions. There's even a running rod rack here that runs alongside with a retractable strap that holds them in place. So again, whether it's your co-angler or the water or the rods themselves, you're able to stay secure. And so regardless of if you're the co-angler or the driver or pro angler, you drop over here into the cockpit, very comfortable, open floor plan. Footrest, you see this one incorporated with a hot foot, which is part of our Revolution package. You've got a depth finder tucked away neatly. So my visibility's still good, but I can also see the screen regardless of my position. You've got a digital ignition system that comes complete with a key fob. It's a very nice system, and you can learn more about it on our website. This particular boat is equipped, because it's Mercury powered with the Pro XS, with a system monitor gauge. The system monitor gauge provides NEMA technology and information to the depth finder. It gives me diagnostics of the engine. A lot of nice attributes come along with that. Over here in the control panels, your typical switching. Ours is much different in the fact that there's no inline fuses to have to contend with. Everything's run off of a breaker, and then your live well controls are over here as well. So you've got a cup holder here and here. Speaking of cup holders, what's hidden here neatly between the driver and passenger seat is a cooler. And it's not just your typical built-in cooler for a fishing boat. It's completely insulated. It acts as a step to the rear deck. It also has a tray over here that's nice for sandwiches or crackers, things you want to carry along and keep tucked away there. But I tell people all the time, when do you get something to drink during the day on the water, especially a tournament? Oftentimes that's when you're relocating. So you're able to do that by remaining in the driver and passenger seat by reaching this cooler here. Behind the driver's seat, this is an ambidextrous setup, is a net holder. So this net can rest behind the passenger or behind the driver, and it's quick to access, but it's also tucked away. You're not tripping over it. It's not something that's just constantly in your way. So if my partner sets the hook, I can step either off the back or front deck, grab the net, catch his fish, and then you can simply put it right back as everything's taken care of. This cooler also gives you great access to this nice live well system. So our live well is very unique. You can learn a lot about our intensive care live well system on our website, but check out these plexi dividers. This has had fish in it as of last Saturday, so I apologize for the mess, but I can fill this completely to the brim using the intensive care mode to take the slosh away. But maybe just as importantly is I can check on these fish throughout the day without any threat of them jumping out. I can open this carpeted lid and by visual reference check on my fish. I've even done it running down the lake to know that my fish are still in water and are safe as I'm traveling back to weigh in. For a cull, these are on a friction hinge, so for culling, it's very easy to get your fish out, put a new one back in. Then flanking the live well are these huge rear dry boxes. They've got so much room, deeper than anything else out there, and as a result, oftentimes I'll keep a good bit of my heavier tackle back here for performance, but see how far that typical box goes way down into this. You know, even a huge Bass Mafia bag is this box just swallows it. And so storage, there's just really not a boat out there that has the kind of storage this VX21 does. You know, if you fish from the back deck, you'll appreciate this platform, but I'll show you what happened, or what I do and I believe happens a lot, is this ability to go from the front to the back of the boat. And how nice that is. I might have just pitched up against a dock and the boat's continuing to drift. I can simply make this transition and keep my angle in place. And oftentimes you might catch a fish you otherwise would have had to reel in on. Here at the stern, a lot of different features worth pointing out. You see these Minn Kota Raptors, how they're attached directly to the transom. There's no clumsy brackets that are going to shake this system over time. They're going to stay robust. You got a hydraulic plate on this particular boat. Everything's nice and neat. You've got the control for your drain plug. You've got the plug for your onboard charger. Everything's accessible from outside the boat. Here in the rear is you see the 4 battery system set up, so you've got 3 to troll. It also has a jump feature. My master power switch is here, so I can jump off of one of my trolling motor batteries should I deplete the crank battery through my use of depth finders. We've even went so far as to tuck away the stern light here at the stern, which I think is neat because guess where a stern light gets used? In the stern of the boat. So at tournament takeoff, there's no digging. You don't have to dig into the box to try to find it underneath a layer of clothing and rain suits. It's here at the back deck. It also gives you a nice, neat place to put this little box that we've incorporated for this year that I put, extra tools or bilge pumps, aerator pumps, whatever in place. Outside the boat, there's so much to talk about. The trailer that we build that the boat nests on comfortably for the rest of its life. But I want to talk about the finish of this boat. The boat I'm in here has the hard case paint finish. What that allows you as a customer or an angler is to have a paint finish that's automotive grade, and it can be automotive colored. In other words, you can match to your heart's content because we're able to apply that after the fact. It gives the boat a luster that you don't see in the typical polyflake application, and so it's an option that many people choose to do. This is in a frost white spectrum, so you can see the style lines that are associated with it because of the hard case paint setup. So I think it's important that everyone understands that Vexus, we're trying to offer everything that you could possibly want. So you prefer the traditional polyflake application, we do that, or if you want to make one uniquely yours, we certainly do that as well. So that's a quick walkthrough. I apologize, it's a mouthful, but hopefully you've gleaned something from it. Our website's full of content. Please just research and learn, because this boat, the fact of the matter is, I've never been in a boat quite like this. It's a sure enough animal in rough water, but it fishes so nimbly you'll never believe it's the size that it is and that it rides that great. So check it out. We'd love to help you understand more about it, get you out on the water. At Vexus, we're fishermen. We spend a lot of time in one, and we want you to as well.